B&B leaves the door open for a Thope reunion, at least in business. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Thomas is once again out of town on The Bold and the Beautiful, but that doesn't mean Hope hasn't left the door open for him when it comes to HFTF. The ex-lovers, whose parents have once again married, haven't had a scene together since he came home engaged to Paris Buckingham. Though that relationship has ended, and Hope was briefly engaged herself to Carter, they didn't speak when Matthew Atkinson stepped back into the role for the bridge reunion. Their absence from each other's lives hasn't set well with Thope fans eager for the two to reunite, or at least be in the same room. But it seems the soap opera hasn't completely shut down the idea that they could share the same orbit down the road. Their romantic relationship has been put to bed, but their work partnership may have some life left in it if Thomas is willing to try again with Hope. Hope has maintained being open to collaborating on Hope for the future with Thomas. Why Thope aren't likely to reunite anytime soon. The path forward for Thomas and Hope. The sliver of door the B&B writers left open for Thope on Wednesday, October 8th episode was a reminder that Hope, Annika Noel, never wanted to end her working relationship with Thomas Atkinson. When he broke up with her, she tried to get him to at least continue collaborating on her line together. She'd once referred to it as theirs, and she wasn't willing to let that part of their relationship go. But Thomas wouldn't agree to it. He chose not only to leave her, but also the country, jetting off to France with their son Douglas, Henry Samiri, in tow. As far as viewers know, they haven't spoken about him returning to work on HFTF since he broke Hope's heart the last time. This would explain her rambling explanation to Dake Harrison Cohn about Thomas not being a part of her line's revival. She said she didn't think he'd want to fly back and forth to make it work. However, there was no indication she was opposed to the idea, given the way she drifted off as she spoke about Thomas as a designer. It just doesn't seem in the cards. Dake mentioned Thomas' role in concealing Beth's identity and Thope's past romance as a factor. However, the scene suggests that Thomas will have to be the one to broach the idea of working together again. To be fair to Hope, she's gone to him heart in hand twice and been rejected both times. She's unlikely to do it again, fearing the same thing might happen. It's unclear when Atkinson could make an appearance again on B&B, but it is certain that Thope's romance isn't going to be rekindled in the near future. Hope told Brooke, Catherine Kelly Lang, that she believes she couldn't fully commit to Thomas because of what happened with Beth. Whether or not you take that explanation with a grain of salt, it does close the door pretty firmly on their romantic prospects if he returns. But because B&B isn't giving up on them entirely, at least professionally, there is a way back for them. We know this because Hope doesn't seem to have learned her lesson from the last time she tried to have her cake and eat it too. She is on the precipice of reuniting with Liam Scott Clifton. Even entertaining the idea of working with Thomas again seems like a step too far since she cheated on her ex-husband with him. However, if there's one thing true about Thope's bond, Hope is just as unable to let Thomas go as he is her. In spite of the hurt he's caused her and the trouble it causes her marriage, they tend to find their way back to each other. It's almost always due to the hope for the future line. So if Thomas ever lets Hope know he's without a fashion line and wants to work together again, she's liable to extend an invitation to reignite their partnership. If that happens, a slow build toward a second-chance romance for Thope likely wouldn't be off the table. The Bold and the Beautiful has always been a soap that thrives on tension, longing, and the blurred lines between love and ambition. And it seems the show is once again stirring the pot when it comes to Thomas Forrester and Hope Logan. After all the heartbreak, the separation, and the difficult decisions that drove them apart, recent episodes suggest that the door may not be completely closed between them, at least not in the boardroom. For fans who have watched Thope's story twist and turn over the past few years, this development feels like a bittersweet spark of possibility, a hint that while their romantic connection might be fractured for now, the business partnership that first reignited their chemistry may rise again from the ashes. It's classic B&B, where personal and professional lives are forever tangled, and no relationship ever truly fades away. When Thomas left town after Hope ended their romance, it seemed like the chapter had been closed for good. Hope had been clear that while she cared deeply for him, she couldn't return his love the same way, and that continuing to work together would only prolong the pain. Fans felt that ache as Thomas tried to rebuild his dignity and focus on being a better man and father, while Hope struggled with her guilt and confusion. But in true soap fashion, time has a way of softening wounds and reigniting curiosity. Now, as whispers around Forrester Creations begin to circulate about a new line, a new collection, or even a potential collaboration, it's clear that the story of Thope isn't finished, it's just shifting gears. The beauty of the Thomas and Hope connection has always been in their creative partnership. Long before romance entered the picture, their shared passion for fashion and artistry brought them together in ways that transcended words. Hope trusted Thomas's design instincts, and Thomas found inspiration in Hope's purity and drive. Together, they made magic on the runway and captured the heart of the fashion world. That dynamic, that unspoken synergy, is something B&B might be looking to tap into again as the show explores what's next for Forrester Creations. After all, with Ridge often torn between family loyalty and business strategy, and Steffi dealing with the constant chaos of her own marriage and company leadership, the time could be ripe for Hope and Thomas to reconnect professionally. But can two people who once shared so much, love, loss, ambition, really keep things purely business? That's the million-dollar question, and one that the bold and the beautiful loves to play with. From the looks of it, Thomas' return may come at a moment when Hope needs a steady hand creatively. Since splitting from Thomas, Hope's line has struggled to maintain the same buzz it once had. The inspiration, the soul that Thomas brought to her brand, is missing. She may not want to admit it, but Thomas was more than just a designer. He was her muse. Without him, hope for the future feels incomplete. And in a world where image is everything, that missing spark could force her to confront the one thing she's been avoiding, that maybe she still needs him, if not personally, then professionally. It's a fascinating setup because it puts both characters in a position of vulnerability and power. Thomas, who has worked so hard to redeem himself, could walk back into Forrester with newfound confidence and boundaries. He's no longer the man who once obsessed over Hope. He's grown, matured, and perhaps even moved on. Hope, meanwhile, might find herself facing a different kind of temptation, not necessarily of the heart, but of the soul. Seeing Thomas again, seeing his talent and passion, could reignite old feelings she thought she buried. The writers seem to be laying the groundwork for exactly that kind of emotional slow burn. Hope's conversations with her mother Brooke and with Ridge have hinted at her uncertainty about the future of her line, and the lack of creative direction has been noticeable on screen. The show has subtly been reminding viewers that the heart of hope for the future was always Thope. Their collaboration was built on more than sketches and fabric. It was trust, understanding, and shared vision. And in the soap world, when something that potent is left unresolved, it's never truly over. B&B thrives on history, and Thope has one of the richest in recent memory. From Thomas' redemption arc to Hope's struggle between duty and desire, their story has all the hallmarks of a great soap epic: love, betrayal, forgiveness, and the lingering question of what if. If the show chooses to reintroduce Thomas into Hope's orbit, even if just for business, it opens the door for new emotional layers. Can Hope truly compartmentalize her feelings? Can Thomas maintain his self-respect and stay professional? Or will that undeniable chemistry they share find a way to break through the surface again? Even if romance isn't on the horizon immediately, their reunion could reshape the dynamic.